20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour.
Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to do a review of this. This is the game called Liftoff. Liftoff is a game for 2 to 5 people. It lasts about maybe half hour to 45 minutes after you learn the game. It might take a little bit longer the first time you play. What it is that each player controls 10 aliens or on a planet that is in the process of exploding. And you all need to escape by using these different fantastic things like catapults or trampolines, or using a satellite to call for a ship, or even like making smoke signals or something to like call for a ship to come and pick you up. Along the way, basically, since it's a race to see who can get your 10 aliens off first, you will be doing things to inhibit other people from being able to leave the planet. And you'll also, at times, because it'll be fortuitous for you to actually help somebody else and for them to help you, so you both can get your aliens off using like the same thing, like a rocket ship that has several like aliens inside of it to take off. So, so even though it isn't really a cooperative game, because there can only be one winner, you'll find yourself cooperating with your opponents at times, just so you can escape with some of your dudes, if you will. It has some really cool things going on, like it has a situation with like the moon actually revolves around the planet, and where the moon is actually has a lot to do with how successful your escape attempts will be. Because like, say for like the smoke signal situation, having like a full moon is too bright, and so your fire won't call anybody. But if it's a new moon, it'll be dark, and so then it'll be easier for people to see your distress signal or something like that. So stuff like that. And so since the moon is constantly moving, you kind of have to plan ahead for that situation. Now, it's a pretty lighthearted game. There is like a monster, because for whatever reason, like, you live in the core of the planet, and there's a monster that lives in there, and then you get to control the monster, and he can go and mess with people and keep them from using certain escape routes and stuff like that. And if you kind of like, during that description, if you've kind of got the feeling of the game Survive, where you're on an island and that's going to explode, and you all need to escape, and sometimes you need to cooperate, I think you're dead on. I would be hard pressed to not believe that the game Survive didn't inspire this game in some way. But this is its own game. It has some cool card play. It has some really awesome interaction with both the game itself and also the other players. And so I'll show you that here when I show you how to play the game, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you exactly what I think of Liftoff. Alright, cool. This is the super awesome board for Liftoff. Get me off this planet. Everybody, like, I set up a 5-player game, so all the aliens are in the middle, along with the monster, the Garglor, is in the middle as well. The sun track starts in the 5 because we have 5 players, and after every turn it'll go like this. And once it reaches this point, the planet will explode if somebody hasn't managed to get all 10 of their aliens off the planet. After everybody takes a turn, they move the moon in a counterclockwise fashion around the board. That's important because, as I said, there are different places on the place that allow you to escape that depend on where the moon is. And so, like, if you can see here, like the jetpack, when you land on the jetpack, it costs 2 fuel to escape on a new moon, 3 fuel to escape on a half moon, and 4 fuel to escape on a full moon. And just so you understand, when the planet is like here, that's the full moon for that location. If it's over here, that's a new moon for that location. And any of the other locations are considered a half moon. So it's just where the moon is above at that time is dependent upon for that location. There are 4 spots that you can use to escape. There are cards called terraform cards that are in that giant deck of liftoff cards over there that allow you then, as long as there aren't any aliens waiting to escape on the spot, they allow a player to go through this stack of other options. You know, UFO, Stargate, slingshot, a teleport, a trampoline, and a miracle. And so they have those other options to be able to, they can swap. That isn't a random swap either. When you get a terraform card, you get to choose which one you want and you place it in there, however you want. So basically you choose a first player. The way they choose a first player for this game is actually they actually go and whoever can tell the best story about being left behind or being abandoned, if you will, gets to go first player. But you know, otherwise you can just roll the 6-sided die that they give you with the game, and the person who rolls high will get to go first. On your turn, you have several options as far as your actions go. You can do these in any order you want. You can draw, which you just draw 2 cards. You can only draw 2 cards. Well, you draw 2 cards first, and then after that, you start with 2 cards, I should mention as well. You start with 2 cards, and you draw 2 cards. Those cards are either resources. Here, I'll show you some real quick here. They'll either be resources. There are 2 main resources. There are screws, and there are fuel. Basically tools. So screws and fuel. There you go. And that you have to pay those on the locations to be able to get onto the locations, and then sometimes there's an extra cost to actually lift off as well. And some of the cards will actually just be actions like UFO attack, all players discard all cards, move the moon. You get to actually move the moon, and so you can move the moon to a more advantageous spot. The Garglor, you can move the Garglor out of the middle of the planet and set it on top one of the liftoff locations, and that actually stops that place from being able to be used. He's rampaging and destroying things, and so you're unable to escape using that particular thing. He does go back on the next turn, but for that one moment there, he will screw things up. There's things like supernova. All liftoff points are full moons this turn. Things like that you can use to mess with the thing. But most of the cards are resources, because those are the most important things, because those actually let you use the different locations. So on your turn, we actually get to the play spot. You can move an alien, and you get 2 move actions. You can move one alien twice. So if you take an alien, you can take any of these tubes out onto the surface, and you can move him twice. So he could go like this, and then he can move over here to like the smoke signal spot. And I'll explain how you activate these spots in just a second. Or you can move 2 aliens once. So you could take one alien, move him out here, and move another alien out there, or move another alien out there, like so forth. And remember, you do get 2 move actions, so theoretically you could go like that, and then you could, take your aliens and move them like that as well. So you can get more of them out and into the top of the planet, if you will. The out of the core and on top of the crust. And after it's 1 move to go from sector to sector around the board. You can also you can also play your action cards. There's no limit to how many cards you can have, or how many cards you can play. As long as you have cards in your hand, you can play them. You just play them however you are, like as far as to move the moon, or all those different things I showed you. You can do those certain things. When you move an alien onto a location, you have to pay the cost for that location to land on there, and each one will have a different cost. Like, say, the smoke signals over here. Also, they'll tell you how many aliens can be on that location. In this case, there are 4 that can be on this location. When you move onto the spot, you can see there's this little thing, move on. You have to pay a screw. So, you have to pay. So you have to play a card. Let me get one here. Of course, I can't find one now. Okay, there you go. There, you play a card like so, and then you can you've taken that spot. You can be on that spot. So then depending on if you want to, after you've moved on to a spot, then you can pay like the cost to activate the location, if you so desire. And that not necessarily this one. You could do it for any of the spots that you have aliens on. So if, you know, I move that on there, but let's say I had an alien over here on the rocket, and so, and the activation, you know, cost for that one is a fuel and a rocket, and a screw. I could do that. I could pay that one over there with those cards. So some of them, after you pay the activation cost, you know, like a fuel, like this, like, so you pay the fuel to activate this location. You actually get to then see if you escape. And so in this case, because you check actually, and I apologize if this is tough to see, but you can see that in a new moon, a roll of 3, 4, 5, or 6 allows you to escape. On a half moon, a 4, 5, or 6 allows you to escape. And on a full moon, a 6 allows you to escape. Well, according to this spot, you know, we would be in a half moon situation. And so you'd roll the die. And so let's see what happened. So I got a 6, and that would mean my alien escaped, and then I could take him, and I could put him down in front of me, and I'm 1/10 of the way to get there, to winning the game, because you have to get all of your aliens off the board to win the game. Now, some of the spots are a little more tricky as far as them being used, like the rocket ship. Now, when you don't actually activate the spot, when you go onto that spot, you have to pay 1 fuel and 1 screw. Now, so I'm just going to show you a card too. Some of the cards will be wild cards. They can be used as both fuel or a screw. They can't be used as both though. So you gotta pick one. So you could use these 2 cards like so, and you could pay to be on that location. And then, you know, another person gets up there and they pay 2 cards to get on there. And then another person gets on there and they pay, you know, he moves 2 on there like so. And maybe green gets one on there as well. And now there's 5 fuel and 5 rockets. And so finally on another turn, I move another one on there like so. I'm going to pay 1 fuel and 1 screw, and there'd be other cards in here, obviously. At that point, the rocket is paid off. You don't have to roll any dice or anything. As soon as all that is paid off, you can see that, and the moon gets to that location. There's a full moon location over there. The rocket immediately blasts off. All of this is paid, and then all of these aliens would then escape the planet. And so it's just one of those things where they're waiting for the full moon to come so they can go ahead and get off the planet. In the case of the satellite, down here, you have to pay 2 screws to get on the location. So when you go on there, you pay 2 screws, and then as soon as there's 6 screws in the location, then the satellite, you know, you can see at any phase 6 screws. As soon as they beam up to the satellite to tell a spaceship to come and pick them up. Things like that. So each one of the spots has a distinct like way to escape. Like the jetpack is pretty neat. When you move on here, depending on the phase of the moon compared to the situation, you know, like if it's a new moon, you pay 2 fuel, and your one guy just escapes. He grabs the jetpack and he takes off. If it was a full moon, and I moved on to that spot, I'd have to pay 4 fuel, and then he could escape. So pretty straightforward, you know. But each one, like I said, has its own like little trick, little hoop that you have to jump through for it to be used. Now, I mean, the game is pretty straightforward. What it comes down to is being crafty as far as like getting to the moon to be in the right spot for you. And actually, more than anything, it's about putting like the correct combination of cards in your hand and kind of planning ahead. You know, having situations where you have your aliens like a move away from being in the right spot, and getting that right connection of cards and getting that moon in the right exact spot, so then you can move everything in that one spot, and then you can take off and you can escape by using that particular location. That's why that one UFO attacks card is actually like one of the most devastating cards in the in the game, because of the fact that you will be, you know, saving up your cards for a specific purpose, and somebody plays that, and all of a sudden all of your cards are gone. And that's something, if you have one of those cards, you should definitely hold on to it until you see somebody who's hoarding their cards. They have like 5, 6, or 7 cards in their hand, and you can just see they're poised to make a big move. And that's a big deal when you drop that and you kind of ruin their plans, if you will. I mean, the game just looks cool. I mean, after every turn, if everybody goes around, everybody takes a turn, you move this slowly down. If you ever get down to here, the planet explodes. And that, if that happens before somebody gets all 10 of their people off of the planet, then you just total up whoever saved the most, and then that person wins the game, instead of like having somebody 10. If you have a situation where everybody, like people manage to, two people manage to get their 10 aliens off at the exact same thing, like let's say like there was like 2 green guys and a blue guy used the satellite and they got off the planet. And that was the last ones for both of those. It is kind of a shared situation, but you do have a tiebreaker. Instead of like you sit there, you go by how many resource cards. All the resource cards left in their hand. Each one's worth a point, and then that would be the tiebreaker for the situation. The only other thing I maybe didn't mention was that you can always pay extra on places like, the rocket or the satellite. And you could take off with just 2 green guys if you're willing to pay the 2 extra screws when you move on there, or you move on another place, and so it can leave early. And so it's one of those things where if you save some resources and you can do it, you can definitely like take off early and leave somebody behind, as they're kind of racing to get there to use the location. So. But there you go. That should pretty much explain the whole thing about how to play Liftoff. I really enjoyed the game a heck of a lot. My daughter was just in here actually looking at the game once again. She really enjoys it as well. I had to shoo her away so I could finish this review. So I'm going to do my conclusion quick, and then I'm going to call her in here so we can play again. All right, cool. I always wonder when, like, the designer of the game has sent me a prototype that looks as nice as the one that I have right here in front of me. If, like, if he comes back and he sees me, like, spinning their box around like this, if they're just like, you're just wondering if I'm going to drop it or break it. But that being said, like I said, when I was showing you the game itself, this prototype that he sent me, he obviously made this with a lot of love. And if this poses itself over to the published version. The game itself is just cool and cute and everything like that. The first time I had it out, and whenever I get a game, I take it, I set it up, and I kind of play it by myself just to kind of get the feeling for the rules or whatever. My daughter happened to walk by the gaming dojo, and she saw it, and she thought the game looked really cute, Daddy, is how she put it. And we ended up playing for a little bit, which was kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, the game itself just looks neat. I like the way the art went. I mean, they could have gone super serious with it, but no, it's more of a comical look to it. I mean, the aliens themselves, they kind of remind me a little bit of Invader Zim, like the way they look and everything. Which is not a bad thing by any means. So. Alright, so what do I think about the game? I really liked it. I like games like Survive and The Downfall of Pompeii. Games like that about natural disasters. God, there was one about a nuclear problem, too. I forgot what that was called. It was a little more serious, though. But regardless, I'm just kind of... I have to think of that. But I'm sure somebody will comment and remind me. Meltdown 2025 or something? Oh, dang it, I have to look it up. But anyway, regardless, I kind of like that. And I like the fact that, like, you have the limited actions that you have. There's that weird feeling of, and it actually even kind of goes back to the first times when you ever played games like Trouble or Pachisi or things like that, when, like, you had the decision, do I race the one guy way ahead, or do I, like, move them all kind of at the same pace? And so you have that weird decision making moment where you have to get your people moved, but, like, do you sacrifice a few, like, to leave them behind, or so you can kind of see, you know, I like that kind of, you know, decision that you have to make in games like this. I also like the fact that, like, this game, like, it has that timer, but in the times that I played it now 5 times. We've never had the sun get all the way to the end. Somebody's always gotten their 10 people off the planet. And, you know, so it's one of those things where we feel like that impending moment coming with the planet exploding. So it kind of, like, spurs people to just be racing to get off the planet as fast as they possibly can, and that kind of leads into the other kind of fun decision thing is that you kind of have to, at some points, you have to make moves that don't actually move your own people, but you actually have to, and I figured this out about the second or third time I played, that you actually kind of have to give up on maybe a turn of getting your own people in place, and you have to spend some time making sure that the other people, their plans are screwed up because of the fact that you kind of have like holding them back, like grabbing them by their shirt tails and yanking them back, actually is going to help you more that turn than it is getting your own aliens into the spots that they need. Now, this isn't the most deep and strategic game I've ever played, but it is just fun. I mean, it's the whole idea of these aliens, you know, racing out of the inner workings of the planet to jump on trampolines or hitch a ride with a UFO or something so they can escape the Krypton or whatever it is that's going to blow up. It's just a fun theme, and it's just kind of a fun game. I don't think it was meant to take itself too seriously. It's just meant to be a quick and easy game to play under an hour. With your friends, and it's got that wonderful amount of screwage that I totally love in games. There's nothing better than putting 2 or 3 cards together, like moving you know, the little monster up to the Garglor, moving the Garglor onto somebody's rocket ship full of people that they were just going to blast off with, and they had that perfect setup and messing that up, or you know, playing one of the cards like the UFO attack cards. To make everybody discard everything. You're using up all your good cards that you've been saving for one really great turn, and then the last thing you do is you drop that one. Or moving the moon, you know, to a disadvantageous spot for somebody when they're putting their stuff together. And also, because of the fact that you still use the die for a lot of things, there is that one wonderful satisfying moment where if somebody tries to monkey with you and screw you over, you can still get a lucky die roll and still escape, and you can go, ha! You know, and so that's what this game is. It isn't meant to be a deep thinking game, but it is meant to be a highly entertaining and energetic half hour to 45 minutes of you cursing out your friends and bemoaning bad luck, or getting angry, you know, angry with them. Not really angry, but like, oh, you screwed me over again, you know, that kind of stuff. So, and that fits my gaming group perfectly because there's nothing we enjoy more than really putting the screws to each other when we play a game. So, there you go. Liftoff, will you like it? Well, I mean, if you like games like Survive, and like I said, Downfall of Pompeii, I think you'll like this game. If you like kind of the whimsical cartoon feel, I think you'll like this game. If you don't mind being completely combative with a little bit of cooperation, only when you need to be cooperative, basically for your own needs and purposes, I think you'll like the game. You know, so you know, it's not a super deep you know, strategic game, but I think this is perfect for families. I think it's perfect for friends that don't hold grudges. And I think it's for people that enjoy a really cool space theme as well. So, there you go. Liftoff. Get me off this planet. Look for it on Kickstarter. It should be there right now. If you have any questions about the game, please post those. I will be happy to answer those as best as I can. And I'm sure that the designer, Ed, will be, or I'm sorry, Eduardo? Maybe he goes by Ed. I don't know. I'm sure Eduardo will be more than happy to answer the questions as well. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And as always, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right. Bye-bye now.